Before we get into today's episode, just want to let you guys know that today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. So SeatGeek, you all know it, you all love it. It's the best place to get tickets to sporting events, to concerts, to things of that nature. And if you want to save $20 off of your first purchase, use the promo code JKS. You can get $20 off. So, if you want to see a baseball game, baseball season's right around the corner. With spring training tickets, they're already so cheap. With $20 off, you're probably getting in practically for free. So, if you're just interested in checking it out, the link is in the description below. You can just, browse that in another window while you watch my video. But anyways, promo code is JKS. Be sure to use that if it is your first time using the purchase. It'll take $20 off of your first order. And anyways, back to your regularly scheduled video. What you see on the screen right now looks like a cover 2 zone, and it kind of is, but it's a little bit of a modified cover 2 zone. Instead, this is the Tampa 2. It's very similar to what I have just that you see on the screen right now. The one key difference is that the middle linebacker is actually going to stay pretty far deep, and he's going to be covering up that middle of the field area. But one reason that this Tampa 2 system is able to work so well is because of a guy who currently isn't even on the screen right now. Chicago is going to have a receiver just run a deep route towards the sideline, and he is going to get open as the play develops. I mean, look, as you see, right when the ball is snapped, he's open. So this makes you think, okay, well, this is a clear flaw in this system, right? There's going to be gaps in coverage, and so if you can attack those gaps in coverage, you can get guys open and you can get first downs. However, there's one reason why you can't run this type of play too often against the early 2000s and late 1990s Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The reason for it is because of that guy right there. That guy's name is John Lynch, and you're going to see exactly why you don't want to be a receiver trying to get into a gap in coverage against a Tampa 2 zone. He just completely lowers the shoulder and delivers an absolute blow, and that is a situation you do not want to be in if you are a Chicago Bears player or just a person in general having to deal with that kind of hit. Yes, it's a big hit. It doesn't feel good, and so there's all of that. But it's actually a real way that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to have so much success when John Lynch was there, and a huge reason they were able to even win a Super Bowl. That play is an illegal play now, and because of that, you now see teams attacking the gaps in coverage as much as they possibly can, but back in the day, teams would not be wanting to do that whatsoever. Not because it worked less. I mean, you could still get guys open, but the problem is you make a throw like that, and there's going to be a safety coming over the middle trying to take your head off, and quite frankly, there was nobody better than that than John Lynch. Like, this plays another example of it, where again, it's going to be that cover 2 zone, and they're going to have a Green Bay player run a route that's going to try to get into a gap in coverage over in the middle. And this makes a lot of sense for Green Bay, just on paper. You see that there's a guy who is going to get into a gap in coverage. This is the play that, if you see today, you're saying, okay, great situation on paper. Watch, after the ball is snapped, there is a Green Bay player who is clearly open. Now, there are still a few Tampa Bay players who are in the area who could try to make this play, but none of them are in the area close enough to where they can really close the gap. It is able to be a completion. However, that one Tampa Bay player is really the only one you have to take a look at. Again, it's John Lynch, and watch this hit he is going to deliver here. Just a blow. Granted, the Green Bay player did hold on to the football, but that's not a play you can run every single time. There's no receiver that can go out there and take 5 hits of those and still be fine. You're going to get hurt, you're going to get injured, or you're just going to be worn out and not want to play anymore. So there is some real football benefits to a play like this. It's not just the fact that you're hitting somebody hard. Again, it could never work in today's NFL, but he didn't play in today's NFL. He played in the NFL of the early 2000s. I also feel like for John Lynch, part of his game kind of got overlooked with the fact that everyone talks about how he's that hard-hitting safety. He didn't get enough credit, I think, for how good of just an overall safety he was. It wasn't just his ability to hit hard. This play is an example of that, where it's going to be play action, and then Tennessee is going to have a tight end run that route right there. Just a quick way to try to fool Tampa Bay. Hopefully somebody moves in. It's a 4th down and go out the 1, so they're obviously expecting a running play. If you can fool them, hopefully somebody gets open. That's the way this play is supposed to work for Tennessee. But if you look at John Lynch right there, he's the guy who's in charge of covering this tight end, and watch what happens right when the ball is snapped. So his assigned man gets a little bit inside right here, and if you look at this, clearly there is a size advantage. I mean, John Lynch isn't as tall as a tight end he's trying to cover. And so in this situation, he's going to try to use his size to his advantage. The tight end is going to try to sort of just box John Lynch out, almost like a basketball play. The quarterback can simply just hit him. You get the catch that way. It makes a lot of sense. Like, watch. So he goes over and he tries to box him out right here. This is seemingly a good situation for Tennessee. Lynch is currently behind his assigned man, and he's a lot smaller than his assigned man, so it's not like he can just push him out of the way. So watch what Lynch is going to do. He's going to step around and be able to get his hand in there and knock it away. Doesn't seem like much, but that's actually a pretty tough play to make, and it takes a lot of good footwork to be able to pull that kind of thing off, which John Lynch obviously clearly has. So for a guy who always gets talked about just at being a hard-hitting safety, he can do a lot, and that's one of the things he absolutely can do very well. He could also definitely have a big positive impact in the running game. I mean, let's be honest, having a safety who can make tackles like John Lynch will absolutely have a positive impact in the running game. Like on this play, the way it's going to work for Buffalo is that basically just those 3 offensive linemen have one-on-one blocks, and then they're going to send their fullback out to block that Tampa Bay player right over there. And keep in mind, this is actually a 4th down and 1 play, so they're just trying to gain a couple yards. They don't really care about gaining a ton. They'll do that on the next play. But what's really key here is going to be John Lynch. And basically, when a hole does open up for the New York Giants, watch how Lynch is going to just run through it and make the tackle. I'll show it a couple of times, but that's just the speed to get through, and then also the great tackling ability to just completely stop the halfback in his tracks, don't allow him to gain many yards, and that's what Lynch could do, is he had that big tackling ability that wasn't just for highlight reels, it actually had some game impact. That is a good example of it. You hear a lot of people say things like, well, yeah, John Lynch was great for his era, but could he really be able to play in 2020? And I think so. I mean, that play is still effective in 2020. That being able to do that still has value. I don't think he would have been as valuable if he played today as if he played back when he did. But at the same time, is it really fair to judge somebody for that? Because maybe he would have changed his game and been a different player if he played today. So I think it's not really fair to judge a guy for that, and he was so great for his era. I also love this play from John Lynch, where what's going to happen is that it's going to be a zone play to the top half of the screen, and what's going to happen for the Saints is that since it's a zone running play, they're going to start off as though their halfback is going to be running in that direction, but basically his last option would be to cut towards the bottom of the screen, where hopefully just no Tampa Bay player is because no Saint is blocking in that direction, and potentially he could get free. There could be nobody in the area. However, that is not going to happen, because if you look at John Lynch, he was further back, but he's running in. He quickly realizes this is going to be a running play, and he's trying to get into a position where if the halfback does cut to the bottom half of the screen, he could be in position where he can make a play. And so, like, watch, after the ball is snapped, he closes in here, and now, while there is a Saints player who's going to try to cut back in that direction, there's nowhere for him to go. He completely took that option off the table. He's able to quickly make a tackle and also makes a nice tackle because he's John Lynch, that's what he does, but also just a smart play from Lynch, you know? It wasn't just his physical tools, he also would put himself in positions to succeed, and that was one of those situations. I hear a lot of talk about what could John Lynch do if he was playing today, you know, what would happen if he was today. Basically, he would be expelled from the NFL because of all his hard hits. And we kind of got a little taste of that with this play. This is when he was with Denver. This is sort of towards the end of his career. It's going to be a cover 2 man, and that's the route that Kansas City is going to try to throw to. Pretty good route against this type of coverage. Again, kind of similar to the first couple plays I showed you. Obviously, the big difference being this is man coverage, but it's a pretty good route to beat man coverage, and it still is going to be just before the safety zone. And so take a look at what happens right after the ball is snapped. There is a Kansas City player who is open here. So again, this is kind of the classic John Lynch situation. He's right there. He's ready to make a play. He is going to lower the shoulder and try to deliver a hit here. And that's what he does. He knocks the ball out, but they give him a flag. And that's kind of, I think, what would happen if John Lynch tried to play in the NFL today, is you'd see a lot of that. Definitely, without a doubt. They took it out of the game, and honestly, rightfully so. Some of these hits were honestly hard to watch at times, just because you know the kind of injuries that those cause and the kind of lifelong damage that those kind of hits cause. But at the same time, for its era, when we didn't know anything about neck or head injuries, then they were certainly fun then. and I don't think you can hold it against him. He was playing the sport that everyone was trying to do what John Lynch did. He just did it the best. But yeah, John Lynch was one of a kind, one of the most fun players to watch in his prime. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.